Hi, and welcome to Michigan Matters. Oakland County is one of the largest in our state with change underway. Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter is in charge of the municipality and is here to give us an update on how it's going. Plus, we're in the throes of tax season. What's new that you might want to know if you haven't yet filed your taxes? We have three folks with us to share the latest and offer a little advice. It's a show about the health and well-being of a county and latest on the tax season. There's lots to talk about. Let's get started.
From CBS Detroit, this is Michigan Matters with Carol Kane. Michigan Matters is brought to you in part by Cure Auto Insurance.
And we're pleased to welcome Dave Coulter, Oakland County Executive, longtime friend of the show, who's been running the municipality, I think, over almost 7 years, right?
That's right, Carol, and I've been on your show a number of times.
Yes.
Always enjoy it.
Yeah, well, and time flies by when you're having fun, right?
Yes, it does.
Well, so how do you describe, when you look back over this almost 7 years, how do you describe what it's been like being the executive?
You know, one of the things I like about being a public official is you never know from day to day what's going to happen, right? I think I would have been bored in a factory job where I was just making the same widget every day. So on the one hand, I love the fact that there's lots of different things to work on. But it can be tough because you have your daily schedule worked out and then boom, something else happens.
Life happens and crisis sometimes, all different things happen.
But I love my job and I feel very blessed to be able to do it.
How big is Oakland? Is it the second largest county?
Second largest county in Michigan, 1.3 million people, bigger than 9 states. Not that I've looked this up, but I have. Yeah, so it's kind of like being the governor of a small state, really. A lot going on.
And the size of the economy there?
Oh, it's by far the biggest economy in Michigan, which is why we really lean into economic development here, because there's more jobs created in Oakland County, more GDP created here than anywhere else in Michigan. So if Michigan's going to do well economically, Oakland County needs to continue.
How big is your budget, your annual budget?
About $1 billion, a little over $1 billion.
In fact, it's been a while since you were here, now I think about this. It has been. I don't know. You've just been too busy for us, I guess. I don't know. But you announced you were going to be moving the offices, the headquarters, from where you are to downtown Pontiac. Where are you in that process?
Oh, it's underway. If you've been to downtown Pontiac recently, the old Phoenix Center has now been demolished. And the building that I will eventually be in, the old General Motors building on Judson Street, is now under repair and reconstruction. And I'll be moving in, and me and 700 Oakland County employees sometime next year. And people say, well, does that mean you won't have the campus anymore? No, we have 5,000 employees, full and part-time. So there's just me and 700 of my closest associates are going to go downtown.
So you just also did, a few weeks ago, your State of the County speech. What was the headline?
A couple of things. Like everybody, we are and have been concerned about affordability. And so in this day and age, I really talked about some of the ways that we've been leaning in to try to make people's lives more affordable, especially around health care, around student loan debt, and around housing. We've really invested more than $25 million in the last 3 years in affordable housing. We've created 1,100 affordable housing units, and we want to do a lot more so that people can afford to live in Oakland County.
We're going to talk more, too, about affordable housing and education, other things here. You're also part of what's known as the Big Four political leaders, the 3 county executives and Mayor Mary Sheffield. And I know you just did an event a few weeks ago, the Detroit Regional Partnership, and I'm going to be moderating an event with the 3 of you in just a few weeks here.
That's awesome.
What's the number one issue when you talk with the executives and the mayor, what's the number one issue for you folks?
You know, everybody has their own particular things going on, and the mayor ran on a very strong people, community-centered agenda, which is wonderful. But we've already started to have conversations with her about larger economic development issues, how we bring more jobs to this region, how we improve transit in this region. And I know she's immediately focused on DDOT and the bus service in Detroit, but she's also, makes me very happy, she wants to be a partner in the region in terms of how we do better transit collaboratively in the region. And so I know she's committed to doing that, and we're going to figure out how to get her on board with that.
And I know the conversation about regional transit is kind of like our Middle East peace process, where we talk about, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. It goes, we just kick the can in a lot of ways. Other communities which have public transit, regional transit, New York, Washington, other places, how do you think the Metro Detroit region, how do you think we are currently doing at addressing those needs here?
Way behind. When you compare us to those, way behind. We're still the largest major metropolitan area of the country that doesn't have a mass transit system, so we're way behind. But I do want people to know that we are working on it, and part of it is getting each community's sort of foundation done. We went from an opt-out to an opt-in system in Oakland County a couple years ago. That has been huge to get all of our communities in and get the revenue we need to do more. Wayne County's going to have it on the ballot this year.
Yeah.
Once they get that taken care of, Macomb is already and all in. That really creates the foundation that allows us to take the next step. So I know it feels like the progress has been slow, but step by step, we're going to get there.
Are you positive about getting the funds needed from the federal government on this, with this environment?
Well, positive would be too strong, especially this federal government, but there are monies available, but what they want to see is that you have your own act together. So to be able to go to Washington and say, look, none of our communities are opt-out. We are all in this together as a region, all four of us signing the same letter of support, which hadn't happened in the past. It's a big deal, and so I am optimistic that we're going to make progress.
There's more to say. We're going to continue the conversation with the Oakland County Executive. Keep it right here. And welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're talking with Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter. And Dave, you mentioned earlier about affordable housing, which is a huge issue before the region. I know Mary Sheffield's been talking about it. The governor's talking about it. You're talking about it. I know that you have your housing trust fund and you're doing more with affordable housing and developments. What's the latest? How are you addressing this in Oakland?
Yeah, the way we're tackling it is, look, I don't want to get in the housing building business. I don't want people to think we're constructing housing. But we have a lot of developers who are doing all kinds of housing projects. So what we do is we say, look, if you set aside a certain percentage of them as affordable for people who make a certain median income, it messes with their ROI, frankly, and so we say we'll give you the gap financing to make that project work. We'll give you the money that will allow you to recoup the costs of keeping a certain percentage of them affordable. So that's been our strategy. It's not our...
Do you think we're doing enough in this space as a region, and not putting burden on you, but just in general?
No, we're behind in this. We really are. Now, Oakland County, we started this about 3 years ago, so this isn't new to us. But I agree, like you mentioned some of the politicians, Senator Slotkin wants to make this like a national emergency. Like we need a full-scale national effort around this. I think we need it. We need a lot more housing.
I think with a lot more conversation. Let's move on to something else that there's a lot of conversation going on, and that is the state of our education, our workforce preparedness. I know the state, in terms of where we rank in our education system, it's dropped precipitously. I think we're down to like 46th, 47th out of the 50 states. You've been involved. I know this has been, from day one, something important to you to try to help with having a better trained workforce. Just let's look at one thing here, and that being college degrees as one barometer. How important is a college degree?
It's huge. The data shows that if you have a college degree, your chances of making a better living over the course of your career is substantially higher. But I do want to say it's not just a college degree, but you got to get some sort of, they call it post-secondary, after high school certification, training. You could be a tradesperson. You could be an electrician. There's lots of ways to increase your prospects of making good money in your career beyond just a college degree. And that's been our goal. When I became county executive, we were at about 60% of the adults in Oakland County who had something beyond high school. Our big audacious goal is to get to 80% by 2030. I'm happy to say we're at 70% now because we've invested in this. We're leaning into it. We're working.
How are you doing? How are you getting more people to go get their degrees?
We're trying to remove the barriers that keep people from getting these things. And it's not usually, these days, it's not the money. The state and this governor have been really good about the Michigan Reconnect scholarships and the tuition. But here's what happens. The car breaks down, so they drop out of school. Or they can't get child care, so they drop out of school. Or they don't understand what the programs are or how to apply. So we have what what we call education navigators, and they help them fill out the paperwork, but they can also get them money for a car repair or for child care. We try to do whatever we can to get them into those programs and keep them in there, minus the tuition, because the tuition is actually out there.
You have, as you mentioned, in terms of the economic impact of the county, it is the largest. I mean, it's number one. You have a lot of manufacturers out that neck of the woods. We keep hearing more about STEM, you know, science, technology, engineering, math. Needs to have more people trained in these areas. There still is a big disconnect between what employers say they need, what employee skills, what they have. I know, again, I'm not sure there's a magic bullet for this, but what if you could wave a wand and have one thing change to help that, what would you do?
You know, it takes investment in what we call workforce development. Our workforce development department that helps us oversee our Oakland 80 initiative is one of the most robust in the state, because the thing is, the employers know what they need, right? And we know where the skill levels are and where the people are, and we take it upon ourselves to get those people who want these jobs the training and the skills and the resources that they need. So, Michigan Works offices, if you've heard of those, we operate those in Oakland County. We have 6 of them. We spend a lot of tax dollars trying to get people the skills and training they need for the jobs. We know what the job demands are, but we got it, and we do a really good job of it. So come to us. Come to a Michigan Works office if you're interested in getting a better paying job.
The other thing you're doing is traveling. You, in fact, have been on trade missions to Japan, and I don't know where else in recent weeks, months, years.
Taiwan and South Korea, and people go, oh, are these vacations?
Are they boondoggles, which some critics say
I know.
that. I know the governor has been on some, and then when she's there, it's a boondoggle. How important are they? And if you don't do them, what happens?
They're critical, because there are companies around the world that want to invest in the United States. They know that the United States market is profitable. They want to come here and create good paying jobs. And we don't go just hand out, we know the specific companies that are interested in the things that the workers that we have and the assets that we have. So it's very tailored. We talk very specifically to certain companies that are interested in expanding, and we've been very successful at it. Since I've been in county executive, we've created over $1 billion in foreign direct
One quick
investment.
last question here. You got about 15 seconds for this.
Yeah.
Rest of 2026 on the economy, what's been taking place? How optimistic? How do you feel about the economy?
I was more optimistic a couple of months ago. The war in Iran has changed everything. The tariffs were already scary enough, but when you see what's happening in the oil markets, and then now businesses, when things get like this, businesses pull back. They don't invest because they're unsure. The war changes everything. So if it's a short war, I'll go back to being optimistic. Right now, I'm nervous.
Okay, well, much more to say. We're out of time. We'll have you back, talk about it. It won't be months and months. We'll have you back sometime soon, and I'll be seeing you April 30th.
Look forward to it,
All
Carol.
right.
Carol, thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. And keep it right here. We're back with the Roundtable right after this. And welcome back to Michigan Matters. We've gathered a powerhouse panel to talk about something nearly everyone has to deal with: paying taxes. Tis the season, as we're in the middle of it here. And we're joined by Priscilla Perkins, a longtime friend, as President and CEO of Accounting Aid Society; Susan Tempar, personal finance columnist at the Detroit Free Press; and Angela Aaron Benefield, Department Director of Financial Mobility Services at Wayne Metro Community Agency. Oh my gosh, Action Agency. Great to have you here. That's a mouthful.
Yes,
you need to put some abbreviations on that title there.
Absolutely. Wayne Metro.
There we go. Great to have you here. Oh my gosh. Susan, you're the personal finance columnist. You do a great job of keeping your thumb on the pulse of what's going on out there. As we sit here in tax season, we still have several weeks left here until it's all over with. How do you describe this tax season? What's been the biggest change?
Well, I think the biggest change is, of course, one big beautiful bill. And what happened is that was signed into law July 4th. So that means this is a transition year, meaning that half of the year, it all is retroactive till January, except the documentation isn't retroactive in many cases. The employers got a break when it came to the W-2s and tip income. So some of this burden is put on the taxpayer to be accurate. Some employers are providing complete information, others aren't. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And there are 4 very important deductions I'm sure everybody in the audience could name them because we've heard about them so much.
Why don't you just repeat? just for those of us at the table, repeat
Right,
those for us,
exactly.
please.
Tips, overtime, enhanced deduction for seniors, and also a new car loan interest deduction. And I stress new car loan because that is one of the biggest misconceptions right now. A lot of people think, I took out a loan to buy a used car. A lot of people buy used cars. That's not going to help. And you are getting some information from the banks.
And it's buying or leasing?
No leasing.
Just buying.
Just buying. Just a car loan. So leasing won't work too, and I'm glad you asked that because that's another misconception.
And we're going to take a further dive in here just in terms of size of refunds. Any comparative data from this year, from last year?
They're up about 10% through the end of February, up about $360 on average. The end of February number was $3,712 average tax refund. The White House has been promoting that average refunds will be up $1,000. 360 is not close to 1,000, but there are some bigger refunds for people who are claiming those Schedule 1A deductions, and Treasury has put out, or IRS rather, has put out that those average refunds are up about $775, which would sort of make sense because they're big deductions, and if you can qualify for those, you would probably have a much bigger average refund.
Bigger thing there. So Priscilla, your organization helps people. Explain what the organization does and who is a clientele.
Okay, our clientele will be considered households 69,000 and below in income. We service a lot of seniors, we service a lot of new families, because what's critical for particularly your new families, the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit. We don't want them to forget about that. So it's about income eligibility. We have more than 20 plus brick and mortar places throughout 5 counties. We have drop and go, which means you drop your packet of information, we service this, and we do virtual as well.
Yeah. So your organization has saved filers millions. So just put a bow tie on that. Give us some numbers. We're in this numbers mode, so give us.
Here we go. Well, on average, what we do through the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program is make a difference of about $30 million in this economy annually by making sure that families get their refunds and tax credits that they are deserved. And we are well trained by the IRS. My friends at Wayne Metro are as well. We are certified to train volunteers, and we rely on that. I could not serve the thousands we serve in this community without the wonderful volunteers.
Angela, your organization is obviously involved in this, doing taxes for people. Tell us, who are your clientele and what are you seeing this tax season?
Of course, our organization is a nonprofit organization, and not only do we provide income tax services, but we have a broad array of services that we provide. Related to the income tax services, we provide those services to low and moderate income individuals within a certain income criteria or income bracket, which is about $69,000. So we service these individuals in which we've been servicing them.
Yeah. When it comes to numbers of people reaching out to you, are you seeing more people coming to you for help?
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We're up about 15% over last year.
1.5 from last year?
Yes, yes.
Same with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to talk further about dive in on what's going on with the current tax season. Susan, if somebody misses the April 15th, are they SOL, or because there's something they can do?
No, absolutely not. You can file late. And sometimes if you file an amended return, if you know you're going to be late, that's the best thing to do. And then you don't have to wait till October 15th to file. If you've got things ready, in the summer, you can get that done earlier. But no, you really need to take action. Just not put your head in the sand.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
No,
those fees and penalties are going to add up, right?
And for our no-cost tax services, I want to be clear that for those income eligible, we don't charge. We're open year-round. We shut down. We got to give people a break right after April 15th. We close. We open up again in May, and then we end around mid-November with a break over the holidays, and then begin again at the end of January. So don't let missing a deadline keep you from getting the help you need.
Help is available too, right here.
Whether it's filing the taxes or if you get a letter from the IRS, don't ignore it.
Oh gosh. Teeth chattering. You see IRS in a letter, chatter teeth time. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. We'll continue the conversation and talk about those taxes. Come right back after this. And welcome back. We're talking with Priscilla Perkins of Accounting Aid Society, Susan Tempor from the Detroit Free Press, and Angela Aaron Benefield, thank you. I tipped my tongue waiting there. So we're talking about the tax season. And Susan, I know you get lots of people, viewers and readers of what you do for the Free Press, reaching out to you. It seems to me, I've been hearing conflicting things about this tax break for people 65 and older. So who is actually eligible in that front?
Well, that's key. The conflicting thing, of course, we heard was that there was no tax on Social Security, and that's not true. Tax preparers and people are getting confused on that. If you still have to pay tax on your Social Security benefits, you'll still be paying tax on your Social Security benefits. But what is new is there's a line on Schedule 1A. Again, this Schedule 1A, keep remembering that one.
S1A, write it down.
That's where you do claim a deduction for people who are 65 and older. Now, if you're 62 and collecting Social Security benefits, not working for you.
What about someone who's 65 who's still working full-time?
That's still fine. You don't have to be collecting Social Security benefits.
So being 65 has its upside, you're saying?
Well, it has its upside here.
Yeah.
This is a deduction, like all of them that are phased out based on income, and it fully phases out for a modified adjusted gross income of
Oh, my.
100.
Now you're getting down in the weeds. You're losing us here. You're losing us here. Hey, who does their own taxes here? Anybody here do their own taxes?
I do.
Well, Priscilla?
Well, I have help with
Your hubby. Hugh Perkins, world famous, journalism wins more awards. And
Well, as do you, Carol. So, yeah, we do it. But another thing I want to, point out is for young people. Yeah. Many of them have tip income. And it doesn't count to get the deduction if it's included already in the check. Right. If you get cash and it's not reported, it doesn't count. What does count is if your employer reports the tip and is included in your W-2.
do you have a sense of how many people, I don't know if anybody here at the table, when there's tips, is it broken out here for whatever industry where tips are given here on your annual, your W-2 or whatever?
Well,
Or are they just cash?
I don't know about that, but they are saying that of the returns that were processed through March 8th, 3.5 million processed returns claimed that tip income deduction. So it is a pretty decent sized deduction.
So something to consider.
Well, right, there is paperwork involved, but that key thing that Priscilla pointed out is if there's a required, say sometimes you see a 20% mandated. Mm-hmm. If it's a $100 bill and it's required that you give a $10 tip or $20 tip on 20%, the $20 isn't deductible. Mm-hmm. But if some people are super nice and they give you $25, that $5. It's crazy. Yeah. It is the most bizarre.
It sounds really whimsical to me. I don't know.
There'll be better paperwork next year. We're going to add that off.
Real quickly, on the people who need help with, I think it's $69,000 the number that in terms of annual income that you can qualify and get help with some of this?
Yes, absolutely. So you can come to our sites if you earn family income of $69,000. We will prepare them in person. If by chance you're savvy and you want to do it yourself,
you,
yes, we have self-prep up to $84,000. So, you can go right online and prepare those taxes.
And Priscilla, same thing with financial aid. I know you deal with a lot of people.
Yeah, what I'd recommend people, look up the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program online. Mm-hmm. It gives you a lot of good information. There are a lot of good resources, no cost. You don't have to pay $300, $500, $600, $700, $800 to get your taxes done if your income is under $70,000, meaning household income. Mm-hmm. So call us and let us know what you need.
And I know there's more to say. In fact, if you want to gear up for next year's taxes, one piece of advice, you got about 5 seconds here, Susan.
Okay, charitable contributions. There's a new deduction in 2026. You're going to want to look
Our
into
nonprofits are doing somersaults right now. Thank you. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. Great information. And I know you guys on your websites have information there. You can keep in touch with Susan on the Free Presses, freep.com. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here. And thanks to you at home for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next Sunday for a little bit more Michigan Matters.